You guys remember we took, I can't remember how many weeks, the one we're doing now is a 9-week theme, but I can't remember how many weeks that theme was. It probably was 13.
It was long.
Yeah, I think it was a full quarter. But do you remember at the beginning what we did? We did all this prep work, and then in 1 week, we crammed all the practices. We practiced the whole entire script. Do you guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We did like 3 a night or something, 3 or 4 a night. We kind of, not the full thing, but we ran through the story.
I feel like it made it easier to know what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, when you can't, we still did our practice on Sunday morning, but we had ran through that.
Yeah,
whole
I
thing.
forgot about that because we had to get like our voices and everything down because it was such a well-known story.
Yes.
Which, that's why it's so crazy that the kids now don't know what it is.
I know.
But it was so well known, and it was set in London after the war, or during the war.
Yeah.
And so they talked a very specific way.
Yes. Yeah, and we had to get everything down. And I remember it was so like, I think it's like has a following or did, almost like, what's some of those like Star Wars or Star Trek. And I know those are two different things, but like some people are so fanatical about the details of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, that was how it was with Narnia. And I remember it was like, I was like, hey, you guys, hold on. This is not the Bible. So, if we decide to do it,
I was probably one of those people.
But I wonder, Brother Kyle and I were just talking the other day about it. And I guess there was, I think, some kind of TV series ages ago, an old one, but then there was a movie that came out, and it might have been
around that same time,
and maybe that's why it was so
I think that
well
it was.
known.
Yeah, because I think even the bus kids did know.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I know like our kids will listen, our church kids will listen to like a lot of audio drama and stuff, and so Focus on the Family had that really well done dramatized version.
And also during that time, it wasn't as well, like the internet, and YouTube and all of that wasn't
As prominent.
as it is now. And so families in the church didn't have a lot of access to biblically based stories and materials and things like that.
Yeah.
They just didn't have it.
Yeah, and that was, so it was a lot more of a big deal. Yeah, that was, man, there's a lot of memories with that. I remember Tumnus's cave. So Brother Aaron was Tumnus, and he had that little, he's so talented, he could play like any instrument in the world, but he had that little tiny like ukulele,
Yes.
and he sang a little song to Lucy and played his ukulele.
His little tiny chair.
Yeah. And he had those, I don't think he had hooves, he was a fawn, but he did have the pants, the fur pants, and then it was like, I can't remember what he had for a shirt. I think it was like almost like a long john shirt or something.
Yeah.
It was like a
plaid or something.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, that was really good. And what I was gonna say is his cave. So Tumnus, because we had to set up and take down every week, and so Tumnus's cave was actually, the frame of it was PVC pipe that could like bend, and then it had joints, and so we made it. And then we had this cloth that we'd put over it, and then underneath you had just a few like straps, I think Velcro, or whatever. And so we made this cave, and it was big enough for the kids to they didn't really go in it, but they could see into it, where Tumnus and Lucy were, and they were almost like kind of in the mouth of the cave, and they were sitting in there like they could sit up and everything, and then we'd collapse that all down.
I just remember him sitting in that tiny chair, that
And
little
the
kindergarten
Beavers
chair.
The Beavers had something similar.
Yeah, it might have actually been the same one modified.
Yeah.
Modified.
It might have been the same thing, but modified.
It was cozy.
Yeah, yeah, it was cozy. Rochelle can attest to that. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, and so, and Brother Joey,
Yes, Joey.
he's
was the
an
perfect Aslan.
evangelist. Brother Joey Boggs was Aslan, the very first Aslan.
Yes.
And I think I do have a picture of him being funny, doing a funny pose, because Pastor had come into practice, and he did a funny pose like he was modeling or something on the stone table. And so I took a picture of him.
I do remember that.
It's like blackmail, Yeah, I think I still have that somewhere. Oh, man, that's funny. But, yeah, so he was the first Aslan. I remember him joking. What was the line? Children, ride upon my biceps.
Yes.
Because it's like Aslan says something like ride or grab my fur.
Ride upon my back, because
Lucy
and Susan were supposed to ride on his back to wherever the White Witch was.
Yeah,
and so
ride upon my biceps. Of course he was joking, but it was funny. And then
who was Lucy? Was that Misha?
It was Misha.
Misha, okay.
Yeah, she did a good job. Yeah, so anyway, that was pretty epic, and I think the build up to it as well, like with all the costume prep and all the stuff we were doing and everything, it was like a big deal.
The staff was, just as excited as the kids were.
Yeah, the staff was so excited.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
I still it was like magical.
Yeah.
Even for us.
Yeah, it was.
It's
really
like
cool.
When you play house when you're a little kid.
Yeah.
That's still what it's like for me.
Yeah. And we have done it. We did Prince Caspian as well, and we did that up here, and that was pretty cool. It was like a train station. You came onto a train, and then we did this one again, The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. We did that again up here, and I think it was good, and it probably was every bit as good, and maybe even better. But the first time was just there's the nostalgia, and it was so cool.
Yes.
It was really neat.
Well, Shamrock gets pretty into her parts, and so she
Yeah.
could be pretty scary. And so I just remember it being kind of dark, and you got the lights going, and she pulls out this crooked dagger, and she raises that thing up, and those kids are like, ah!
Oh, yeah.
They can't give me the real swords to act with because
Yeah, in fact, I think I remember you because we did have a couple like real swords that are not like super sharp, but we had a couple real swords. We're like, no, you can't have it,
because if you're gonna fight me in Sunday school, you better be ready because.
And remember, you had a staff. Oh, this was so cool! It was like it was like a piece of conduit, and then it had like hot glue on the end.
It was a metal rod.
Yeah, well,
it was a full metal, it was
I think it was a
wait,
steel,
is that what conduit is?
Well, yeah, it was a steel conduit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought conduit was I should know this. Miles is an electrician.
It was.
I was thinking PVC pipe, but it was
steel conduit, and then it had like it had a light on the end, but it had that.
It was
glue
a
or something.
icicle, like a Christmas
and
icicle, and they hot glued it on there. It made the hot glue drip down, so it looked like
an icicle dripping.
But I think that they had some sort of light in the end, if I remember.
Because it had a little button on it.
It had a button.
You had to hold it down.
Yeah, I was like,
yes. They did the same thing for my crown.
Oh, I don't remember that. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it would glow.
Oh man.
So probably why you could see the gleam in your eye when you pulled out the dagger.
Yeah, I remember that wand. That was so cool.
I think every single time that I've played that part, I've made kids cry. I don't know if it's unfortunately that I did that because it means I'm being realistic and playing my part well.
Oh man, yeah. Well, we've talked about making kids cry, and that is not the goal of our Sunday school.
Right. I just, put my heart and soul into it.
Yeah. So were you guys? Well, you were in the second time we did it. You did White Witch again. Mm-hmm. But were you in? I don't think you were in it the next time.
No.
Because I remember somebody else played Mrs. McCready.
Well, I know. I think I think the second time was when my dad had his surgery and I was gone for like a month.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then I
ended
up not coming back.
Or maybe you were off having kids or something.
No, I don't think so. Not quite yet.
Not quite yet. I think it was 2018.
I think my dad had.
I think it was 2018.
Yeah, I hadn't came back yet.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Because I think I've only been back for maybe 3 years.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that was really good too. And I remember somebody saying when we did the Tumnus's Cave on the second one up here, it was over in the corner. There's a door there now, but it used to be a window. And I remember it was like it was, I think, a staff person or something, but they're like, oh, it's so cozy. You know, it's like just this nice, neat little. And then on this side where we are right now was Narnia. And you came through the wardrobe, and we had the snow machine that we use from Heart of Christmas. And that snow machine was going, and so you came across, and the snow was coming down.
I think
so
this is during the Prince Caspian one, correct?
No, this was the Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe. Because the wardrobe was like right over here somewhere, because the house was over there in that on that side, and then
I think
it came
during
through.
so I was in each time that we've done Narnia, like whether it be Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe or Prince Caspian, but for the very first time we did it, I was in it throughout the whole thing, but the other ones, I was like a cameo appearance. So I wasn't up here every week. I just came up and did my part.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
And so that's what was kind of shocking for the kids, too, is because I kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah, which is cool. And now, because back then we had like a staff team, and they would do the whole theme. And then sometimes a few would maybe take a break or whatever. And so that's basically what you were doing, is taking a break.
Yeah.
Now it's a lot different. We have like 30 staff, or we rotate every single week. You know, we've got new staff or whatever. So, but one thing I wanted to talk about, and we are going to move on, we're going to talk about some other Sunday school memories. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was the wardrobe in the first one. I remember it was so cool because we had this removable back. It was like a magic trick, you know.
Yeah, like an actual wardrobe.
Yeah, it was an actual wardrobe.
With coats. We had actual coats in
We
there.
had coats in it and everything. And I remember and it was a pretty small space. Of course, our Sunday school was smaller too. But I remember Lucy, the first time she goes in there, and then basically she closes the door behind her. You know, they're playing hide and seek or whatever. She goes in there, and then staff take off the back, and she disappears, right? And so then I think, which this is not how the story goes, but I think we wanted the effect, and so we had somebody open it, you know, Edmund or somebody open it, like the very first time she goes, you know, and it's just a solid back, like, oh, she's not in here. And of course I remember all the kids just like, you know,
Yeah,
Where'd she go?
yeah, and so like a couple times we did it where I think the next time when Edmund and Lucy go out, and then, you know, it closed, and
I remember one of the boys, it might have been Jacob, was like knocking on it, trying to figure out.
Yeah, yeah. And then they got to go through it, and we still didn't show the back, but they just got to go in, and it was open.
And I can't remember, did they go through it every single time after that?
I think so. I think it was,
Sunday school?
yeah, I think after the reveal, I think they went through the wardrobe every time. And of course, you know, the bulk of that novel, it takes place in Narnia, and we would come to the house every week, which is what we
Because we would almost do a welcome, like every time I'd be doing something different.
Yeah, yeah. So
so they
we
would
always
usually see me
because
first.
there's things that we would want to do, and you know, Bible stories or whatever, our regular segments, offering prayer requests, that kind of stuff that we would do in the quote unquote house. Then we'd go over for the theme part of the adventure.